After I made my girlfriend famous, she turned around and went to a rich guy. Felt like a knife to the heart, and I asked her why. She crushed the gift I had carefully prepared under her feet, wearing the exclusive heels the rich guy gave her. "You're like a pair of off-brand shoes," she said. "With my status now, it's embarrassing to be seen with you." I chuckled bitterly and turned to take on her longtime rival, who had been overshadowed. "If I can make you famous, I can also bring you down." In the 7th year of our relationship, I finally made her a top influencer. On Christmas Eve, I waited for her at KFC, where we always went to celebrate. But this year I waited, and she never showed. Instead, I saw on social media that she was officially dating Joshua, a famous rich kid in showbiz. Scandal. Top influencer caught making out with a rich kid at the movie theater. I clicked in, and even though Christina wore a hat and sunglasses, I recognized her instantly. I jumped up, panicked, and ran out of KFC, but then tried to calm myself down. Maybe it was for work? I took a deep breath and called Christina, trying to act cool. "What now?" She sounded impatient on the other end, making me all the more anxious. "Is that trending topic because of work?" I asked nervously, my heart pounding. "No, it's not work. Joshua suddenly wanted to see a movie, so I went with him." I froze, my voice tightening. "Do you remember what today is?" After a few seconds of silence, her voice came back a bit annoyed. "Henry, it's just something we said as kids. No need to remember it forever. Besides, KFC's crowded and noisy. I'm a celebrity now, not a suitable place for me." I was taken aback by her words, childhood promises ringing in my ears. "Henry, neither of us knows our birthdays. Why not make Christmas Day our birthday? When we're richer, we'll celebrate at KFC by eating loads of fried chicken." That Christmas, we watched longingly from outside a KFC window, making that vow. Every Christmas since, we treated it as our birthday and celebrated at KFC. She entered showbiz last year. Last Christmas, she missed our tradition because of a competition, crying and promising we'd celebrate together this year at KFC. Yet I was met with news of her making out with another guy. Joshua's voice interrupted from the other end of the call. "Are you talking to that childhood friend assistant of yours? Is there something between you two?" "Impossible," Christina replied. "He's just my assistant. I only like you." And then she hung up. I stood there in despair. Just an assistant? I've always loved Christina. It's never been a secret. When we were kids, the orphanage head asked about our dreams. I boldly said, "I want to marry Christina." The head laughed. "And you, Christina? What's your dream?" "I want to be a star and shine on stage." "Then marry Henry." I made a vow to help Christina achieve her dream. So after high school, I didn't go to college. Instead, I worked 3 jobs a day. I had to pay for her college, talent classes, and various competitions. I've lived for her, from 17 to 23, 7 years, making her a star. Even when my boss saw my potential and offered me the position of top agent, handling big stars, I turned it down. I was content to be a small assistant by Christina's side. But now, I've become just an assistant in her eyes. I wandered back towards my community when a car stopped in front of me. Joshua got out and opened the passenger door for Christina. They linked arms and smiled, a sight that stung my eyes. "Christina, is this male assistant of yours pestering you at home?" Joshua looked at me with disdain and hostility. They met through exchanges on social media. Back then, Christina stood out in a talent show. Joshua, being a wealthy kid, showered her with compliments on social media. Christina politely thanked him. I felt jealous then, nervously asking Christina, "Joshua's pretty attractive and rich. What if you fall for him?" Christina laughed, patting my head. "Don't be silly. I have you. Who else could be better than you?" I was thrilled. Though we never officially dated, I thought we were unofficially together. But now I'm just a random assistant in her words. "Honey, don't misunderstand. For convenience, he just rents in this community too," Christina quickly explained, looking at me with slight irritation, like I shouldn't be there. "But you're my girlfriend now. I don't want you to have other guys around," Joshua remarked. Christina hesitated, then without delay told me, "Henry, My boyfriend doesn't want you as my assistant. You should quit. But don't worry, I'll find you an easy job. I felt like a complete joke. She promised she'd keep me by her side forever. Now, a single word from Joshua, and I'm tossed aside. Cameras suddenly swarmed us, with onlookers drawn to the scene. A mass of people surrounded us, and in the chaos, someone stepped on Joshua's foot, causing him to yelp in pain. Christina got upset immediately. I shoved the person standing next to Joshua, and in doing so, I ended up on the ground. Why are you all crowding around? You're stepping on Joshua. She yelled angrily while shielding him. I sat there, dazed, getting my feet stepped on and back kicked by others. Strangely, I didn't feel any pain. I just stared blankly at Christina protecting Joshua, feeling more like a joke. That night, I couldn't sleep at all. Christina publicly announced her relationship with Joshua. The funny thing is, I was in the photo on the news page too. They looked glamorous and perfect together, while I sat on the ground, looking goofy. Some online laughed. Look at Christina's fan realizing she's in a relationship. It's like watching a dream shatter. Do those fanboys really think they stand a chance with Christina? Only a prince belongs with a princess like her. I quietly put my phone down. Yeah, I pushed Christina up to be a princess, but she disliked me because I wasn't a prince. She didn't know I gave up my shining spot for her. I took a deep breath and planned to go get my stuff from Christina's place. I figured she'd be off filming at this time. But as I opened her door, I heard some noises. Christina was on speakerphone with her friend while putting on a face mask. Henry, you sure caught a rich second-generation star. But what about Henry? Everyone knows he likes you. I thought you'd marry him. Hearing this, my heart clenched. I was anxious to hear Christina's response. Henry's not bad, but nothing special, like a no-name brand of shoes. With my status now, it's embarrassing to wear them out. I know he likes me. I liked him too, but we're not a match anymore. I'll still help him out, though. He's just a high school grad. How can he make it on his own? Hearing that, I froze for a moment and couldn't help but chuckle. What was I expecting? Hearing Christina say it out loud made me realize. She looked down on me. I spent all my youth and effort trying to elevate her. But when she looked down from above, she scorned me for not being her equal. I suddenly regretted it. Why didn't I just stick to being a top-notch manager? Why did I have to be her assistant just to stay close to her? Christina turned around after hearing my laugh, and when she saw me, she quickly hung up the call, looking a bit panicked. Heard everything? She awkwardly bit her lip, unsure of where to place her hands. I nodded. For some reason, I wasn't angry. I came to get my things. Since I'm no longer your assistant. Hearing that, Christina's eyes flickered and she couldn't look me in the eye. Henry, don't worry. I'll help you find an easy job, or worst case, I can help you out a bit every month to make sure you live well. You were good to me after all. Her charity made me laugh more. At myself for ever working so hard for her. No thanks. Let's not stay in touch. A no-name brand shoe shouldn't taint a star like you. She looked awkward for a moment but then insisted. Henry, it was just a spur-of-the-moment metaphor. You're a grown man, why be petty? Isn't it the truth? You're like those shoes. With my status, it would be embarrassing. Look at my position and yours. Do you still think we match? Only someone like Joshua suits me. How can you compare to him? Besides, I offered to support you. With your skills and education, how could you have a good life alone? Isn't that kind of me? She lectured me without realizing it crushed my manly pride. Christina, keep your charity. I don't need it. I can manage on my own. Henry, I'll see how well you manage. You'll come begging to me someday, she yelled furiously. I didn't even glance at her. You'll regret this, Henry. Her shouting echoed, trying to provoke me. I laughed bitterly. I was already regretting not having woken up sooner to live for myself. I originally planned to quit being an assistant. After handing in my resignation, my boss, Judy, wanted me back as a manager for upcoming talent. I agreed without hesitation. Since I'd be managing, why not take on Christina's rival, Lucy? Lucy was a fellow trainee and Christina's biggest competitor during her contest days. If Lucy hadn't angered a big shot, leading to a fallout, She might have been the one in the spotlight instead of Christina. Thinking about it, I couldn't help but smirk. Didn't Christina disdain my capabilities? Then I'll prove to her that her stardom was entirely thanks to me. But when Christina found out the next day that I'd be taking Lucy, she barged into my office furiously. She stood there, hands on hips, face flushed with anger. You turned down my job offer just to latch onto something better? Do you really think it was you who made me famous? Joshua joins her, wrapping an arm around her waist, giving me a disdainful look. Trash with trash. Thinking they'll make waves, he scoffed. I coldly replied, yes, and only scum with harlots last forever. Also, Lucy is just better than you, Christina. Why else would you go out of your way to suppress her back then? Joshua's face turned dark instantly, while Christina, standing nearby, clenched her teeth in anger. Fine, Henry, if you dare to put me down like that, then I'll just wait to see you make a fool of yourself. I sneered. Who ends up looking foolish, we'll see about that. Given my past experience as a manager, promoting Lucy wasn't a hassle. Even though I've known Lucy for a while, I didn't really understand her because Christina didn't like her. Lucy was quiet and spent most of her time looking at me with those clear, innocent eyes. It's hard to guess what she's thinking. I asked her, do you have any plans for your position? She shook her head, looking at me awkwardly, appearing anxious and nervous, like a blank sheet of paper. But even so, I can still make her a top star and show Christina up. Can you handle hard work? She nodded. I smiled a little. Don't worry, leave it all to me. I'll definitely make you a top star. Lucy looked at me steadily, then nodded. I didn't rush to mold Lucy's image right away. Instead, I let her casually update her social media accounts first. After observing her for a month, I finally mapped out a path that suited her. Her looks stand out, with big, clear, and innocent eyes like a puppy's. Plus, she's naturally quiet. So I crafted a cool yet shy image for her. Gave her a college girl makeover, upping both her vibe and looks. With professional video shoots and scripts I got written for her videos, in just 10 days, one of her videos hit the trending list. From then on, Lucy had her spot in social media beauty compilations. She gained tens of thousands of followers, too. Riding on that popularity, I got her a farming reality show gig. Unlike the fake ones, Lucy genuinely knows how to farm. She's great at domestic chores and knows all sorts of agriculture stuff. Along with her innocent looks and cool but shy demeanor, she won over a huge batch of fans. Judy was immensely satisfied with Lucy's progress, praised me multiple times during company meetings. Yet, every meeting we had, Christina showed up even though she didn't need to. Each compliment Judy gave me made Christina's face darker. Christina stopped me as I was leaving the meeting room. You don't think you actually have talent, do you? I'm telling you, you just got lucky. Listening to Christina belittle me, I just found her pathetic. Instead of mocking me, maybe worry about yourself. I heard you've been losing a lot of fans lately. Seeing Christina grit her teeth at my words, it was clear. Christina was originally a female idol, and openly dating is taboo already. Plus, Joshua's a known playboy, naturally upsetting many fans. Christina has also been late to several events, like over half an hour late, which didn't help. The media and general public ridiculed her, saying she's become arrogant since dating a rich kid. Her reputation tanked, and her fan base shrank significantly. I know she didn't mean to be late, it's just she's used to me managing everything. I'd remind her for each event and escort her there myself. I'm guessing Joshua's assistant isn't doing that much for her. And without me running things from the shadows, her work's all over the place now. But that has nothing to do with me anymore. What's losing a few fans compared to what I've built? I still have popularity and influence, something your wannabe will never reach, even if she tries her whole life. She shot a frustrated look at Lucy and me. Lucy will definitely surpass you one day, I said confidently. Lucy gave me a grateful look, like she found some courage, and firmly said to me, Henry, I'll work really hard. I smiled and nodded at her. Christina's face twisted in frustration. Two clueless fools. I'd like to see how you'll climb over me. Henry, you're just waiting to embarrass yourself. This wannabe? She'll never amount to anything but a pretty face. Christina huffed, turned, and walked off. After Lucy's reality show ended, she gained a lot of fans and praise from the showrunners. But there were those who were jealous and unimpressed. Rising to fame just by looks and farming? Seriously, farming all the time? Might as well go back to the countryside. Isn't it embarrassing to farm in the entertainment industry? Christina even took to social media to subtly shade. I got to where I am through hard work and practice, unlike some who only farm and flaunt their looks. This only increased the ridicule aimed at Lucy. But I turned the tables by getting Lucy into a live performance project. The show had rookie actors and actresses, with renowned, award-winning actors as mentors. Although Lucy had zero background and wasn't professionally trained, she was set to compete against those who were. The show kicked off, sparking lots of discussions. Lucy faced initial ridicule. People said she was there to be a joke. But Lucy put in the effort. Any feedback from mentors, she'd immerse herself in learning. Her regular and hardworking demeanor won over many people. As viewers saw Lucy improve day by day, their opinions started to shift. At first I thought she was here just to hitch a laugh and get attention. Turns out she's genuinely putting in the work. I heard her family background isn't great. She left school in her junior year, but she was top 10 in her grade before. She entered showbiz to support her family. I'm one of Lucy's classmates. She's super genuine and kind-hearted. On the surface, she seems a bit distant, but that's just because she's introverted. Now that people finally recognize her, I'm really happy about it. Lucy's reputation has improved, and her popularity took a leap. Thanks to a variety show, she's trending on several different hashtags almost every day. She's got endorsement offers and scripts coming her way. As her manager, I'm thrilled. I picked a literary film for her, where she'll play a supporting role as a caring sister. Even if it's a minor role, it can really stand out if done well. Lucy joined the production, but things don't seem to be going well for Christina. Christina and Joshua were sweet together at the start, and even had fans shipping them as a couple. But lately, the paparazzi caught Joshua giving Christina the cold shoulder, while Christina's always chasing after him. After a few more incidents, Christina's fans started getting upset. No one likes to see their idol being mocked online as someone who grovels. They urged her to break up with Joshua, but Christina refused and even snapped at her fans for meddling in her business. Most of her fans turned into haters, posting mocking clips of her online. Suddenly, she found herself being targeted by everyone on the internet. I saw Christina again at an industry gathering. Lucy had just wrapped up her shoot. Some of her acting clips were posted online and praised by everyone. Judy handed me an invite, suggesting I take Lucy to network and create more opportunities for her. When Lucy and I arrived, I saw Christina and Joshua already there, their faces red, seemingly in the middle of a fight. There were a lot of people watching, and I couldn't help but be curious. Joshua, what's been up with you lately? Ignoring my messages and calls is one thing, but now you're interacting with other actresses on social media. What are you trying to do? If I hadn't come to this gathering, I wouldn't have even seen you, Christina complained, holding on to Joshua's hand, clearly upset. Joshua looked exasperated. Come on, Christina, we've only been together a little while and you're already acting like this matters so much? I liked you because you became a top female celebrity. Who knew you'd end up like this in just 6 months? If I were you, I'd be aware of my status. Avoiding you is just my way of not wanting to see you. Do you really think you're a match for me now? You're nothing. Christina's face turned pale as she stared at Joshua in disbelief. I found myself a bit amused. Christina had looked down on me before, and now she was the one being looked down upon by Joshua. Christina, stop clinging to me. You can only manage someone as useless as your assistant. You're not in my league, Joshua mocked, pointing at me while speaking to Christina. When Christina noticed me, she looked embarrassed and humiliated. She turned and stumbled away, almost running off. Although the incident wasn't spread among industry insiders, Christina became a laughingstock in the entertainment world. Christina's agent had a tough time. He used to be the most authoritative and resourceful agent in the company. Now, he was constantly frustrated with Christina, saying she was impossible to manage. Relationship drama, diva behavior, a lack of social skills. Each one of these was a serious offense in the entertainment industry. Christina used to have so much work she didn't even need to visit the company. Now, she often showed up, almost in desperation, looking for work. She used to be treated well by everyone at the company. Now, everyone looked at her with mockery, which was hard for Christina to handle, often leaving her dejected. Compared to Christina, Lucy's career was going way better. Her first art film might not have been a big box office hit, but it received a lot of praise. Several big directors saw potential in her and began reaching out. It wasn't just business partners who offered opportunities to Lucy, even Christina's agent did. During another company meeting, Christina's agent directly suggested to Judy, "Christina's popularity has tanked. Many partners don't want to work with her anymore. Holding on to so many resources is wasteful. Why not let another agent take Christina? I want to manage Lucy." When Christina heard this, tears welled up in her eyes as she looked jealously at Lucy, but she didn't dare speak up. She had been abandoned by her fans, her partners, and Joshua. Now, even her agent was ditching her, all because they didn't think she was a match anymore. Other than Christina feeling miserable, everyone else in the room looked enviously at Lucy. After all, they knew Ken had the best resources. If managed by him, and if they kept their head down without causing a fuss like Christina, becoming a top star was just around the corner. I suddenly felt a bit anxious. I've invested a lot of effort into Lucy over the past half year. I wanted to know if Lucy would ditch me for better opportunities, like Christina did. It left me uneasy. You'll see, everyone will eventually grab any chance to climb higher. I've been ditched, and Henry, you'll be next. I wasn't wrong back then. I was just going along with the flow. Christina whispered to me when she suddenly appeared beside me. "Lucy, what do you think?" Judy asked. Lucy glanced at me, then at Ken. "Thanks, Ken, for your interest, but I've gotten this far thanks to Henry's support. He's put in a lot of effort for me, and I don't want to be ungrateful. I'll stick with him, through thick and thin," Lucy replied politely. Hearing that, I finally felt a sense of relief. Seeing Lucy's clear and bright smile aimed at me, I couldn't help but feel my heart race. Christina was stunned, clearly not expecting Lucy to make such a decision. I turned to her and said, "Christina, not everyone is as ungrateful as you. Lucy, you're good at choosing." Judy laughed. "Henry is a top agent I had my eyes on. 2 years ago, he was managing Felix." "Is that the Felix who's a movie star?" an artist exclaimed. Everyone looked at me in shock. Which other Felix would it be in showbiz? Back then, I really appreciated Henry and wanted to poach him for our company, but he wasn't interested. If it weren't for Christina signing with us, I wouldn't have had the chance to work with him. Judy gave Christina a meaningful look. Christina looked at me with a complicated expression, disbelief written all over her face. "Why didn't you tell me before?" Her voice trembled. I guess she realized what she had missed. Funny how it turns out. I kept it from Christina to avoid burdening her, playing the part of her assistant. In the end, she despised me because I was just an assistant. "What's the point of telling you?" coldly said. "I'm only backing Lucy now, not you. You betrayed me after all." Christina bit her lip regretfully and hurried away in a panic. Christina got assigned to an agent who handles influencers. She's a semi-famous star with no resources, so now she's doing live stream sales. She used to be on top of the world. Now she's live every day, pushing her fans to buy her products. Joshua even announced their breakup, subtly dissing Christina's lack of class, saying he must have been blind to go for her. Now he's hanging around the latest champion of the show Christina started from, interacting as if he's forgotten her. Even though people mock him for being a showbiz player, chasing after champions, he doesn't care and says it's because his family is rich. Meanwhile, Lucy hit it big in a movie I got for her. This time, the success was massive. She became a top star but still had those clear eyes. When she received an award, she thanked the company, the fans, and lastly me, her agent. She said I was like a light, illuminating her life and turning her into a star. Hearing that, even a guy like me got a bit teary. I always thought Lucy deserved my support, And now I have my own place in showbiz. I can finally be myself without holding back. A year later, Lucy is still a top star, getting plenty of roles and awards. I've bought a villa and a fancy car, living the good life. I saw Christina again outside my house. Just got home, and there she was squatting. She had gained some weight, and without a stylist, she looked worn out and dull, a far cry from her stage days. I heard that her initial live streams were okay. Some loyal fans still bought from her. But then she lost her cool on a few live streams, snapping at fans who said her stuff was overpriced. Her reputation got worse. Fans gave up on her, seeing she wasn't going anywhere. Now she's barely working and has little income. "Henry, you're finally back. I've been waiting for you all day," she said, eyes red and pitiful. I frowned. "What do you want?" "Henry, I'm sorry. I was too vain. I regretted it the moment you left, but I always thought you'd come back to me. I never expected you'd never look my way again. I'm sorry. I was wrong." She apologized tearfully. Back then, I couldn't stand to see her upset. But now I feel nothing. "Henry, after you left, I really realized how much you did for me. You took care of everything, every detail, kept all my business relationships intact. Once you were gone, everything fell apart." She went on. I sighed, really not in the mood for this. "Finish and leave. You're messing with my relaxation time." She flinched but still tried to come over for a hug. I quickly stepped back. "Henry, can't you give me another chance? We grew up together. You loved me so much. I know I was wrong. Can we start over?" Christina looked like she was about to break. I looked at her and firmly shook my head. "Sorry, I'm a person, not a pair of shoes. You can't put me away when you don't need me and take me out when you do. And you're not sorry. You're just struggling. No one's there to bail you out, spend money on you, or admire you. That's why you remember me now. I told you things I don't want, I won't look back at." Hearing that, Christina burst into tears. "Henry, is there really no chance? We were so happy together back then." Couldn't help but chuckle. "Happy for you, maybe because I carried the weight for you. Now I'm happy living for myself. If you don't leave, I'll have security escort you out." I kept it polite and composed. After all, I've made peace with the past. I'm not going to be angry or bitter anymore. Christina cried harder. "Don't be so cold, Henry. Yell at me, hit me if you have to, but don't face me so calmly. It scares me." I glanced at her and silently pulled out my phone. "Hello, is this the property management?" After all, Christina is a public figure and cares about her reputation. She gave me a longing look, but quickly left wearing a hat. Before she left, she said to me, "Henry, I only made a small mistake, and you refused to forgive me. I was just tempted back then. I can't believe Lucy wouldn't waver in the face of such temptation either. Besides, I know I was wrong and I'm willing to stay with you, even marry you. What more do you want? Aren't you afraid you'll regret it later?" I was honestly nauseated by her words. Lucy's career has been climbing steadily. Now she makes a living through her acting skills, so most of her fans are career-driven fans and they are more loyal. But lately, Joshua's been getting restless. He's been publicly liking Lucy's posts frequently and has expressed how captivated he is by the characters she portrays. He's been trying to get close to her, both publicly and behind the scenes. Even at some public events, he appears deliberately trying to get close to her. They've even sparked some couple fans online. When I saw this couple topic about Joshua and Lucy trending, I couldn't help but frown. "Those are all fake edits. I don't like him," Lucy said, coming closer to me in a bit of a panic. I gave her a silent look. She's already reached heights higher than Christina ever did. Deep down, I wonder, will she change? "What are you thinking?" she asked, raising an eyebrow at me. Before I could answer, Joshua approaches us. His gaze towards me is filled with hostility. "Lucy, finally running into you in a private setting. I didn't dare approach you at public places. Joshua is indeed good-looking, plus he comes from a wealthy family. So, regardless of his reputation as a notorious playboy, many actresses have fallen for him. Do you need something?" Lucy asks with a frown. "Lucy, you're at a different level now. You need top-tier resources. No matter how capable your agent is, there are some resources he just can't get for you," he said, looking at me with disdain. I was about to retort, but my phone rang. When I picked up, Christina said, "Henry, see? Joshua tempted me the same way back then. It's not that I was unfaithful to you, he just made it all sound so amazing. I bet Lucy would abandon you, her agent, without hesitation after hearing his offers." I immediately felt uneasy all over. Christina must be in this restaurant, spying on us like some creepy little rat. I hang up, and Joshua boasted proudly, "Lucy, I've never liked a woman this much before. You know my family is rich. If you're with me, you can save 20 years of struggle. Not only would you get the best resources, but if we married, everything I have would be yours. What could your agent possibly offer? He's nothing compared to me." I looked at Joshua, speechless. Is this the irresistible offer Christina mentioned? Would Lucy actually agree to it? My palms started to get sweaty from nervousness, and I couldn't help but look at Lucy. "Joshua, I don't like saying harsh words, but please respect my agent. In my heart, he means more to me than anyone. As for your offers, find someone who's interested. As for me, I'm not." Lucy's words were firm and powerful. Joshua's smile froze on his face. This was the first time anyone had turned down such an offer. "Lucy, don't be ungrateful. Don't think you've made it. I can destroy you whenever I want." He gritted his teeth with anger. "Doesn't matter." Lucy remained completely calm, not showing any fear. Joshua, fuming, turned and walked off. I felt unexpectedly joyful inside. "Lucy, are you really not worried?" I asked, looking at her. Lucy shook her head and shyly added, "Henry, I've always believed that as long as you're by my side, I can overcome anything because you're my guiding light." I was stunned hearing that, looking at her with surprise. Her eyes remained sincere and clear. My eyes welled up, nearly bringing me to tears. I finally have someone who won't betray me. Just then, I heard a stumbling noise that almost sounded like someone was about to fall. Turning my head, I saw Christina collided with a server carrying dishes. Soup and all spilled all over her, making her look pitiful. But she just gave me an embarrassed glance and rushed off. I knew she'd never dare to show her face to me again. She finally realized that the only fake and despicable person was her. I was worried Joshua would do something crazy, so I prepared ahead. But soon enough, trouble brewed in his family. His parents got arrested and investigated. He had made enemies in the entertainment circle over time, and now everyone was stepping on him. He fell from grace, now resorting to eyeing rich older women at parties. Meanwhile, Lucy and I are still running in our own race. Lately, though, Lucy's been looking at me a bit strangely. When she once again looked at me with worry, I couldn't help but ask, "Is there something on your mind?" Lucy took a deep breath, like she was gathering courage. "I was hoping you'd notice me sooner, but those girls at the company are always surrounding you, making me feel threatened." I stared at her, confused. But Lucy stood her ground. "Henry, I like you. I want to be your girlfriend." Suddenly, my heart started racing. I stopped hoping for anything like romance long ago, but I didn't expect Lucy to confess to me. "Do you want to? It's okay if you're not ready now." "I'll wait for the day you are," Lucy said, blushing and flashing an awkward smile. I suddenly remembered how she always chose me, no matter what temptation came her way. I shook my head. Lucy looked at me, embarrassed, ready to run away, but I grabbed her hand. "This kind of thing should be said by someone like me. Lucy, would you be my girlfriend?" Lucy burst into tears of joy. She nodded excitedly and jumped into my arms. "Yes,